Hey y'all, it's me, Miss Phil, coming to you from my kitchen because we're talking about food stuff, so it just makes sense to be in here. But it is day 4 of week 4 of our nutrition unit. So we're going to talk about something that maybe you know about, maybe you don't. Let's get into it though, alright? So today we're going to learn about how you know if you're getting all your macronutrients, which are the carbs, fats, and proteins, and micronutrients, which are the vitamins, minerals, and water in your diet, okay? How do you know if you're actually getting them in your body so that your body can use them to be healthy and strong and fit? So one way that we know if we're getting all those things in our body is by looking at what's called a nutrition label. It's on most things that we eat, which is really cool, and I'm going to show you a little bit about it, and I'm going to give you a little example about it. So let's look at some. A nutrition label looks kind of like this, and you can find it on all the different types of foods that you eat, like this fancy spinach. See, there it is. Or in some peanut butter. Yummy. You can even find it on your pasta, right there on the side of the box. There they are. Look, nutrition facts. And you can even find it on individually wrapped things like we have these at school. It's just on the back. It looks a little different, but it's all the same kind of information.
I forgot that it was upside down. Whoops.
And don't forget about your beverages. You're going to see this on there too. So let's talk real quick about what is actually on these nutrition facts, because there are certain things that always have to be listed even if the number is 0. So the first thing is that they're always going to have a serving size. That means how much of that food one person can have. So for example, on this peanut butter, it says that there are 2 tablespoons per serving. That means each person should have 2 tablespoons of this peanut butter. But you'll see underneath it, it says that the serving per container is 3. But on this, because it's different than what I wrote down here, on this, it says that there's about 24 servings in this container. That means that 24 different people can have 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, and that will fill up this whole jar, or really empty it if they're taking it and eating it. Another thing that you might notice is that underneath of that, there are calories. So the calories are basically the energy that your food gives you. But it's going to list how many calories, and it even tells us how many of those calories come from fat. Underneath our calories, there is total fat. That's always going to be listed first. And it tells you how many grams, that's the amount. And then over here, it tells you your daily value percentage. So this is how much. If you have to eat 100% of a certain thing, let's say you need 100% fat in your diet, right? So 5% of it is going to come from whatever this item of food is. So if you had let's say this is 2 tablespoons of something, and it had 3 grams of fat, that would mean 5% of your daily intake, how much you should have in one day of that macronutrient is right there, 5%. Okay, that's what that means. And then underneath the fat, I'll get closer, it breaks it down into those different categories we talked about the other day, saturated fat and trans fats. Okay, so the total fat is 3, there's 0 saturated, and there's 0 trans fat, which means that this must all be unsaturated fat, which is a good kind. Underneath the fats, they talk about cholesterol, which is something that we don't have to talk about right now, but it's something that hopefully when you're older, you'll pay attention to a little bit more. Then there's sodium. That's one of our minerals. And so this one, in this example, it has 300 milligrams of sodium. Sodium is basically salt, okay? So salt's not awful, but you don't want a lot of it either, okay? Underneath the sodium or the salt is our carbs. So that's our macronutrient that gives us energy that's more like grains, right? Like cereals, like the pasta. So some vegetables have carbs in them, and it tells you how many grams, so the amount that's in that serving size, and then it tells you the percent that is of your whole day's intake, okay? So in this example, if I had the serving size, 2 tablespoons or whatever it is, it would be 4% of what I could have all day long. Also, it's good to know that under your total carbs, it's called dietary fiber. Fiber is a pretty good thing. It helps your body too in lots of different ways. So we want things that have good fiber in them. And then also sugar. That's really an important thing to know when you are eating food, so that you don't eat things that have a whole ton of sugar or have a really big amount of carbs in them too much, because too much of a good thing might not be a good thing anymore. And then our last macronutrient that we're talking about on our nutrition fact label is protein, right down here. So protein, in this one, there's 3 grams in here too of this. but it doesn't really give you a percentage because it might be different for everybody. But it's okay. As long as you are getting a balanced diet with some healthy, good fats, some moderate carbs, and some proteins, which are like our meats and our nuts and things like that, that's good for your body. And the last thing that we're going to focus on today in our nutrition fact label is the very bottom, where the purple and the orange things are. These are our vitamins and minerals. Now on this example, there's only 4. I only had that much room. But it'll tell you what the vitamin is, what the mineral is, and how many percent that food item has. Now, look at this. Look at this cereal box. It's very special, let me tell you. But and underneath this big thick line is all the vitamins and minerals. So we have our macronutrients up here listed, and we have our micronutrients down here listed. And it tells you how much percent is in them. Some of them have a lot, some of them don't have that many, and that's okay. So that's why it's really important to look at your nutritional facts whenever you're eating food. So our nutrition facts are awesome because they give us all the information that we need about the foods that we need so that we can have a balanced diet that's going to give us everything that's going to keep us healthy and fit. But did you realize that there are some things that you can't find the food labels on? Like pizza. If you get pizza, there's no label on that that tells you how much anything is, but if we're smart, we can figure out what's in there, okay? We know that the dough of the pizza is like a grain, and that comes from our macronutrient, the carbs. So there's a bunch of carbs in this. We also have our cheese, which is part of our dairy, which is a meat product, which has some protein in it, right? And then we've got our sauce, which is from vegetables, which might be a combination of carbs, right? And the cheese also has the fat in it, so there's that too. So you're getting all your macronutrients in a slice of pizza. And I bet you in those things, there's also your micronutrients. So you're probably getting a whole bunch of things, even if you can't see because there's no nutritional facts on there. But it's good to be smart when we're eating things that we don't know the nutritional facts of. Just don't eat a whole ton of it, right? Because, like I said, maybe too much of a good thing isn't always a good thing. And we want to be smart about our choices. So obviously, if we have mashed potatoes compared to maybe French fries, which one do you think is going to be healthier? Probably the mashed potatoes, right? Because the fries are fried in oil, and the oils are fats. And the more fats we have, the not so good fats that is, the worse it might be. So try to do your best to make as many great food choices as you can. And if you have to really think about it, maybe think about how much it's processed. Processed just means how much we've changed it from when we found it out in the world. So like if you've had a fresh apple from a tree, that's probably going to be a lot healthier than applesauce because the fresh apple is just how it's made, and the applesauce, people had to do stuff to it in a machine or factory to make it look that way, right? So just make healthy choices. Do the best you can, and above all else, you know what you should do? Drink water, because water helps your body a lot too. It helps break down all those minerals and things, and it helps your body function. So don't forget about your water. It's a really great thing to incorporate in your diet. But that's all I have for today, so I hope you learned something. Maybe you can look at nutrition labels and nutrition facts on the foods that you're eating today or during the week and see what's going on in your own diet. So that's all I got, and I will see you tomorrow for day 5 of our week 4 lesson.